I hope you like robins and waxwings, because these berry-eating birds are the stars of this cedar tree special. Grab your toilet paper, we're going birding. Areas with a bunch of cedar trees are one of my favorite places to go birding in the winter because I'll often come to these places looking for owls like northern saw-whet owls or long-eared owls, but even if I don't find the owls that I'm after, there's so many berries produced by these trees that you can find a lot of exciting things like finches or robins or waxwings. A lot of things love to eat these berries, so even if I strike out on owls, there's usually something exciting to see in cedar tree habitat. I knew spring was in the air when I spotted a singing house finch followed by two distant robins atop a cedar tree. When the robins flushed, I worried they might be gone for good, but I soon came across an absolute Juniper jackpot on this fine February day. A very cooperative flock of close to 40 American robins were waiting for me when I got to the other side of a windbreak. These rotund robins were busy gorging on the berries of eastern red cedar trees. They're among the first of millions of robins that will soon be pushing north in the next week or so as the winter weather melts away. Once I discovered the feeding robins, I knew it was only a matter of time until their social sidekicks joined in the feeding frenzy. A series of high-pitched whistles soon betrayed the presence of the marvelously mohawked cedar waxwing. At least 20 of these stunning birds joined the robins to dine on juniper berries. You may have noticed that I've used the words cedar and juniper interchangeably. That's because eastern red cedars are members of the juniper family. These evergreens produce copious amounts of tiny blue berries that sustain numerous songbirds during the hardships of winter. I didn't realize until I was doing some research for this video that these berries are actually tiny pine cones that store 1 to 3 seeds in them. This shouldn't have surprised me, as eastern red cedars are conifers, but these pine cones look so much like berries. The robins and waxwings were too busy devouring these morsels to ponder the nature of cedar berries. After all, the robins need to bulk up to fuel their northward journeys. Although the cedar berries are bountiful in this wildlife management area, these beautiful birds need to make sure they're consuming these treats in moderation, as berries begin to build up fermentation as the weather warms. If you've heard about birds getting drunk, then these berries are to blame. Eating too many berries with high fermentation content can cause birds to pass out, or even worse, die. Luckily, all of the birds I was watching today were perfectly fine despite eating incredible amounts of cedar berries. After their morning meals, the robins and waxwings slowly started to fly off to find quiet places to enjoy late morning naps. Many birds are adapted to eat berries throughout the world, but cedar waxwings, and their larger cousins, the Bohemian waxwings, are likely the biggest berry-eating birds in the United States and Canada. In fact, these wonderful waxwings eat little other than fruit from September through April. Waxwings and robins are both important seed dispersers. Cedar waxwings do not regurgitate the seeds of the fruits that they eat, instead excreting them in their droppings. Robins will often regurgitate fruit seeds, but some seeds pass through their bodies as well. By flying around and pooping everywhere, waxwings and robins are directly responsible for distributing the seeds of numerous species of trees and shrubs. I noticed that both the robins and waxwings would occasionally drop fruits that they plucked with their bills. They must have some way of determining if a fruit is not up to their standards, but I'm not exactly sure how they do this. In any case, I found it interesting that they were so choosy with the fruits. I hadn't witnessed this behavior before. In addition to the robins and waxwings, some white-throated sparrows could be heard calling in the brush that filled in the areas where cedar trees hadn't taken over. I also heard a few purple finches clicking overhead. I hoped that these finches would descend and join the berry buffet, but I had no such luck today. If you recall, I mentioned that I often go to places with lots of cedar trees to look for wintering owls. This was exactly the reason I visited this wildlife management area today. Though the robins and waxwings were certainly fun to watch, I spent many hours looking for a saw-whet owl among the tens of thousands of cedar trees. Unfortunately, I'm just kidding, look what I found, my first saw-whet owl of the year. Oh yeah! Now, my process for finding this bird deserves its own video, so you'll just have to stick around and wait for my next video to see more of this adorable little lady. I enjoyed a pretty fantastic birding outing today. With all the robins flying around, it really does feel like spring is right around the corner. And with the weather about to warm up to well above freezing this next week, all the spring migrants are really going to start pouring in soon. But I'm curious to know, have any of you ever birded at a place with a bunch of cedar trees during the winter? And if so, what has your experience been like? I've always found that places with a bunch of cedar trees can be really nice spots to go birding in the winter. I generally come away with a nice list of birds from these locations, so let me know if you feel the same way. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, and if you've not already done so, I would invite you to subscribe to this channel. I have a very exciting solid owl video that's coming out next, so you won't want to miss that one. Stay tuned. But in the meantime, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and this is Connor from Worldwide Birder, signing off.